We are the key enabler at the edge. That's where we'd love to be, and that's where we love to work with our partners to make sure whatever their requirements are over that next period of time, we can enable it for them.
Welcome to our interview series taking place right now at the ATxEnterprise, part of the ATx Singapore, at the Singapore Expo today. And with me, I have Craig Bowley, Chief Commercial Officer, Global Invacom.
Correct, yes. Yeah. Brilliant to be here. Yeah, it's fantastic to be in Singapore for the show this week. I think there's a real buoyancy to the market, and we're seeing some great engagement. So it's brilliant to be here. Thank you for having me.
All right, awesome. You know what, before we begin, let's just go back a little bit into, what you guys do at Invacom.
Yeah, it's a great question, because I think it's something that the market's kind of, we're going through a redefinition into the market. We're a 30-plus-year-old company, known for a lot of direct-to-home in previous years, a lot of different kind of sub-brands, Skyware for the antennas, etc. And I think we're now bringing together a new kind of approach to the market, a new definition under Global Invacom, which is a solution-driven, it's a high-quality solution-driven RF house. We have high capabilities, and it's something that the market's really responding positively to in this recent times.
Okay, and when we talk about this market, this RF market, right? We know that we have new technologies coming in, 4G, now 5G, and then going on to 6G, and then we have the non-terrestrial networks as well. So, how's the market evolving as you see it, and who are your target customers?
Yeah, great question. So 5G-NTN is certainly a key buzz, and it's a multi-orbit, multi-connectivity solutions play. So you're seeing a lot of the telcos and the satellite operators, and even the OEMs, the traditional OEMs, Kratos and iDirect, etc., trying to really focus on how you go back into the 5G core for a telco to enable the SATCOM industry to become an expansion of the telco arm. And that's, of course, very interesting for us as well, because if you can have an expansive play that makes SATCOM part of that wider picture, it brings more connectivity points. And on the edge, that's where we play. We're on the edge connectivity with our terminal plays, with the antennas, our electronics. So we have to be a key enabler in that picture.
Okay, and you serve both the telco, the carriers, and at the same time you serve the satellite operators as well.
Yeah,
right?
so
does these offerings, are these converged offerings, or do you have like standalone offerings for different markets?
No, so something that our CTO has done extremely well is make us a very modular, standardized design. So I think we talk about standards in the market a lot. We're yet to really see the standards come through properly. But our CTO, Bob Potter, is really driven on making sure that anything we produce is standardized. It's modular. It means that we're not building unique things for unique customers. We are able to build one unit in a very modular way that's able to be adapted and deployed for the different deployment types that we have. And of course, the telcos are key partners with the satellite operators. The telcos also work into government defense. And you'll find even in a telco, it's not just concentrating purely on a handset type play. They are in multiple verticals, and it's a small ecosystem. So we will have to work together.
Okay, awesome. So, you talked about a modular kind of offering, right? So it's kind of like, basically, this allows the flexibility for your customers to, take different components from different vendors and build the final solution. Does it work that way?
So they don't need to. So we do that.
You do that.
So we build the electronics, and we have the antennas already in play. We have motorization capabilities. I think again, one of the key things on the trend and the transition of the market right now is on a very multi approach. So where we go back to the modular and flexibility standards, we want to build stuff that is able to work in a multi-orbit, multi-band, multi-frequency type environment where we can serve that. And coming back to the Global Invacom and its core capabilities, one of the real key factors of why we're important into the ecosystem is our ability to build in-house.
All right.
So our capabilities on the engineering and RF to build the electronics. So a transceiver is an interesting one. Some people don't really understand it. It's a combined buck, LNB, OMB, and feed horn all in one, and it gives actually better performance.
All right.
So we're kind of taking an archaic legacy way of building your electronics terminal and turning it into a much more innovative, modular type way that you can create a better ease of deployment.
All right. Okay. So in this market, right, which we see that there are a lot of changes in the market, and there's also a lot of convergence that's expected.
Yeah.
Where we see operators now trying to also leverage satellite connectivity along with their 5G networks, the traditional networks, to make sure that they cover the entire region, the entire country, because there are a lot of hard to reach areas, and they need the right technology to approach those areas. You know, sometimes, you know, you need connectivity in maybe in mountain ranges and in maritime use cases and all that. So do you basically sit down together with the enterprises or with telcos to develop a solution that best fits their needs?
Yeah, exactly that. So we like to work in a very close partnership approach to the market to make sure we're not understanding what they need just in the next 12 months, because that's already decided.
That's decided.
Where are you going in the next 5 years, and what are you going to build towards? What do you need from us? And like I said before, because we have the in-house capabilities to do it, we're able to work with these partners. We've had some key discussions with satellite operators in the Asia region this week about their plans for 2029, for 2030.
Okay, that's like 4 or 5 years down the road.
But that's the planning phases. If you're putting a satellite up in space, you're going to have unique requirements potentially, or ways that you want to go to market that you're trying to think in 2029 is going to be what the market needs from you at that time. So we can work with the partners in that way. We help, like I said, the close relationship, collaboration, I think is going to be very key as we move forward, and it's going to be accelerated over the next period.
And in this market, when you're having these conversations with your customers and potential customers, what do you see as their main priorities?
Yeah, so the main priorities it's an interesting one, because talking 3 years ago, you might have said the main priority was simply on costs. Just getting the cost down to the lowest amount. And now I think Starlink's changed that a lot. The reception of the consumer is about usability. It's not just about cost, it's about usability. How can we make the terminal easier to deploy, easier to understand in a world that's going from less, they don't want specialist deployer installers anymore. They want to just get it out of the box, set it up and have it working, which is something that we're driving towards as well. And I mentioned the XRJ earlier as being modular and compact. It means you can literally just swap out your electronics to an XRJ. You can simply swap them out. It's not multiple systems that you have to maintain and swap out if something goes wrong, or do a check on if there's a problem. You don't have to go through multiple checks for the different items. You're just simply one unit that you're relying upon. So from that respect, I see going forward a lot more simplification of a terminal, simplification for the user of a terminal, and that's where I think they're really driving towards. And again, as we start building out on our latest equipment that we brought to market, we brought an XY terminal that is simply a plug and play. You set it up, it can be set up in under 10 minutes. We've had somebody set it up in 9 minutes. It's it's a 4-box solution as a flyaway, which is quite impressive for timing in that respect.
I see.
But our motorization system in there, and again, it's a Global Invacom fully built solution. The motorization piece, the XRJ, our transceiver on there. And that's simply plug it in, set it, and it will find the satellite. And that's a multi-orbit again. So we go to multi-orbit, multi-band, multi-frequency capability, very modular type play, very simplified for the user.
Okay. And do you see demand coming from certain sectors more than others, like certain verticals?
Yeah, great question, because I think one of the transitions in the market at the moment, and one of the things that's got our attention, is more on the ground side as well. The ground station, the Earth observation markets. We see that growing certainly in this region again, but also globally, exponentially over the next 10 years.
All right.
So we have also started.
That's a huge opportunity there.
It's a huge opportunity, and for an RF house like us with the capabilities, we are actually deploying Earth observation, quick deploy, agile kind of setups already. Again, wanting for those customers that don't have legacy setups in place. We brought a 3.7 meter Earth observation solution that can sit on 3 containers.
All right.
So you can actually ship it within one container, and then you buy 2 containers on site, and you can set up an Earth observation station anywhere in the world. You just have to clear.
So it's like a plug and play kind of thing.
A plug and play type setup, exactly that, to make it a lot easier, a lot quicker. And at the moment, Earth observation is dominated by government defense.
Yes,
but
exactly.
there's so many applications moving forward for commercial use that I think in that next period of time, that one of the big growth areas is going to be in the commercial side as much as defense.
And therefore, you'll see a lot more enterprises making up the new demand.
Exactly.
Forward,
and
right?
I think some of this legacy industry that has all the reach, has the understanding of satellite and space, I think we'll see them maybe transition a little bit to diversification of a portfolio to include Earth observation in there as well.
Wow, interesting. You know, we look at this sector and we know that the growth that we are that we can foresee taking place, you know, in the maybe in the next 5 to 10 years. But I'm sure that there are also challenges. You know, in maybe, you know, coming up with solutions or tailoring, you know, the solution that are that exactly cater to the client requirements. And, you know, some of these challenges can be from the solution end. It can also be from the consumer's understanding.
Yes.
Like, what do they understand the capabilities of these technologies? You know, in your experience, what are one of the major challenges that you see?
Yeah, great question, because I'll go back to referencing Starlink again earlier.
Okay.
The perception of the market's changed completely.
Yeah.
It's opened up new markets, it's opened up new people's idea of what SATCOM, satellite space, can do for them as an enabler. And of course, for them, it's being able to go to a Walmart or somewhere and buy it off the shelf, take it home and set it up, and it's working. Which has changed the consumer's idea of what they want from that solution. They now want satellites as part of their ecosystem. Companies now see it as a key enabler for them. Governments see it as a mandatory requirement for them. It's changed the perception of it. Now, the other side of it is the challenge that it brings is Starlink sells it very low cost, with obviously a low cost package around it. Now, the traditional VSAT market is not that way. It's very specialist, it's very high cost. So bridging the gap between the two is a big challenge for everyone. Getting the bandwidth prices down on the satellite, getting the solutions from OEMs to the right price point, getting the terminal solutions from us at the right price point to enable that greater market.
So what Starlink is doing, it's forcing the rest of the industry to push down their prices, look for solutions that are better optimized and built in a more lean way so that, you know, they can compete at the price point.
Yeah, so I would try and steer away from the whole race to the bottom on pricing, but it's definitely changed the way it's definitely changed the way the market's thought about their business cases. They've had to sharpen the pencil. They've had to really understand what the consumer wants, how they now pivot their market away maybe from the mass low-end consumer to maybe more enterprise-driven, more security-driven. And it's definitely seen a change in the market in that respect. And I think going back to the whole collaboration and consolidation of the markets, I think we've seen some people drop away over the last couple of years where they were serving at the bottom end and they couldn't adapt in time. I think those that you see now in the market still have adapted, have built business cases ready to enable that next section.
And I suppose there are also those who are aggressive, who are trying to, like, you know, beat competition by continuously improving the solutions, tailoring them as close as possible to the best in the market, right?
Exactly. And we talked about foresight for 2029 and beyond. And you're having to do that now. And we're having to really get the build time into it, because these things can't happen overnight. If you're trying to really redefine how you're going to build your solutions and what you're going to take to market, they take time. It's a long cycle in the satellite world, and new satellites going up. Takes a long time to enable them, so we have some time, but of course everyone wants it now.
Exactly. So, you know, when we talk about use cases, you have said some of the observation center use cases and so forth. Are there some emerging use cases that we don't know that are in the pipeline that you guys are already developing with your potential customers?
Yeah, great question. So I think one of the key things that you'll see around the show, and you've probably seen for many years, is flat panel antennas. So you would say they're a dime a dozen right now, but actually them working is a different matter. If you talk to people who have them at the show, they haven't been deployed, they haven't been actually built, they are demo units, they're not quite ready. We have ours are coming, and without crossing over and saying the same thing, but we very much have brought to market in the end of this year a KU band flat panel antenna, at the start of next year a KA band flat panel antenna, in collaboration. So going back to the collaboration piece and how we drive the innovation, it's maybe not centric on one person, but through best of breed, best standards. And we're working with a company called SatWave in America. Through them, through their technology on the flat panel, through our electronics, our transceiver, our up and down converters, and a pan and tilt gimbal to make sure the look angles are much better enabler. We're bringing that to market in the end of the year, and I think that's one that we'll see this time next year at the show. I think it will be one of the future looking for next year.
So this launch is slated for end of the year?
End of this year, yeah.
End of this year, so we can expect some great news.
So it will be big news by the time we get here next year.
Oh wow, that's exciting.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm guessing that's going to be like quite a busy time for you guys to prep for that launch.
Yeah.
And in terms of the target markets that you see, I'm sure that some regions hold a bigger promise than others, or is it the same across the world? How's Invacom's I guess journey in there?
Great question, because I think that it's all determined by what kind of sector you're looking into. If you're talking about government defense, there is no bigger sector than the US. Nobody spends more money than the US on their SATCOM in the defense. But of course, the geopolitical world at the moment means that in the US, it's very US centric. It's very US focused now. In Europe, it's becoming very US focused when you talk about government defense. They're starting to go to localization type approaches around the world, where you have to have things built in country, so another challenge point potentially. But when you talk about the biggest driver, one of the bigger regions for growth in SATCOM as a whole, as a TAM, you're probably looking at Asia as one of those biggest regions. And I think I think it is, and we're looking towards Asia as one of those regions that we think there's going to be a lot of growth in this next period of time across all the different verticals, from government defense, the SATCOM operators we talked about. There's some fantastic SATCOM operators already in this region, but also ones that want to work in this region from out of Europe, from out of the US, from out of China. And then you're looking at Earth observation we talked about. So we're really starting to see that being embraced. You look at JSAT and what they're doing to diversify their offering to the market through Earth observation. I think we'll see that an awful lot more as we come through as well.
So I guess, we are looking at this is part of the connectivity world.
Yes.
And you're bringing connectivity at a different, I would call it, for a different market, catering for different needs. But this comes together with the rest of the connectivity space, the terrestrial networks as well.
Yes.
So together, when they converge, and there are a lot of operators trying to work with other operators, and I'm sure that this is where vendors like you guys come in to close the current gaps that they have, to make sure that, whether it's on the retail side or enterprise side, that the entire world is connected.
Indeed.
And you're going to do it with efficiency, with the mobility, and the cost that makes it sustainable.
Yes.
So I guess that's the vision.
That is the vision. Yes. Yeah. We are the key enabler at the edge. That's where we'd love to be. And that's where we love to work with our partners to make sure whatever their requirements are over that next period of time, we can enable it for them.
Wow, that sounds really interesting, Craig. And I guess we are at the end of our conversation today. We've learned a lot, and thank you very much for spending some time today with us. And we are looking forward for the big launch that's going to happen soon. Keep us posted. Excellent. And we would like to catch up again maybe next year at the same time.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much for having us.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right.
Excellent.
Okay.